What's up guys, I'm Will and I'm super pumped to show you a project that me and my roommate have been working on for about a year now. This is our food forest permaculture style front yard in just our regular suburban neighborhood. So stay tuned. Start right where it all first started, and was just the first plant I ever bought was actually a banana plant, and I had no idea about a food forest. I had no idea about a permaculture. I just found out that bananas grew in this area and I thought it'd be the coolest thing to buy bananas. I bought one single banana and it actually stayed there for like 2 years before it ever did anything, and I had never understood why it didn't fruit. And then when I started learning about permaculture and food forest, that's when I began to start just mulching everything. And the thing with bananas is I guess they need a lot of water and they need a lot of nourishment to fruit. So Florida sandy soil just didn't have enough nourishment to help the bananas to fruit. So when we laid the mulch the very next season, we started getting bananas. And the cool thing about bananas is I only started with one banana tree and they just keep growing more and more bananas. So once the first banana tree fruits, that part goes back into the soil that fertilizes the other bananas, and then it gives off usually 4 to 5 more pups for each banana. We've actually been harvesting the bananas off this and adding them to other places of the yard in order to just have more plants for the food forest. And this whole sea here is actually sweet potatoes, and we actually eat a lot of sweet potatoes, and they grow super easy. They help the soil turn, and you can also eat these sweet potato leaves just like spinach. So we throw them in our super smoothies on a daily basis because they're actually loaded with nutrients as well. And then here's just our regular mailbox. This is a papaya tree, and this is some turmeric, and this is just a plant that attracts pollinators and other bugs that are just beneficial to the garden. Another thing that I'm super excited about is we actually ate a mango, took the seed and we sprouted it, and this is from a mango that we've eaten. Now we have a mini mango tree, and it's just about maybe 3 or 4 months old, maybe more, I'm not sure, but yeah, all we did is put a seed in the ground and now we got a whole new tree, as opposed to spending 30 to 60 bucks on a new one. So instead of just planting seed in the ground, which does take way longer, see, this is just an older mango tree that we bought from the local flea market. That it costs a little bit more money to buy an older tree, but you do get fruit a lot quicker. And this was a type of cherry I got from Pete from Green Dreams. And if you haven't seen his channel, he has like the coolest permaculture channel. It's kind of where I get all the information that I learned to try to do this myself. Like, I'm no expert or anything. Me and my roommate are just experimenting, trying with this, trying to learn more and more about it. And this is a cherry tree I got from Pete, and I can't quite remember the exact strain that it was, because I know when I was at Pete's house and we actually tasted the cherry, it was probably one of the best tasting cherries ever, so we had to buy the plant. And they're absolutely delicious. This is a coconut tree that there's like a flea market right down the road that sells all sorts of different fruiting plants and vegetables and all sorts of different fruits and vegetables that you don't usually get at the supermarket as well. So yeah, that's a coconut. And this is one of my favorite plants in the garden. This is a cranberry hibiscus. These cranberries are one of my favorite things in the garden because they're so good, and these leaves actually taste like cranberry, and it's cool just to have a different color in the garden as well. These are more sweet potatoes, so we got sweet potatoes pretty much everywhere. This is a baby yucca tree, so this grows into a big cool looking tree that is like tree spinach, but you have to boil it or else it's kind of poisonous. This is a Barbados cherry. I have another one in the backyard as well that it's just an amazing strain of cherry that is so delicious. It's hard to not have one of these. This is a guava tree that we bought at the flea market down the road as well. So this is eventually going to be a banana wall where it's going to build a wall of bananas. These are actually all baby pup bananas that we got from the mother bananas. They give off a bunch of pups, so you can constantly be putting them in other places. So as the bigger banana trees give off pups, we've been taking them and adding them here, and it's going to have a nice little wall of bananas. And this plant here, it's kind of hard to see under these sweet potatoes, but these attract pollinators. So what we do is we try to plant a lot of fruit and vegetable trees, and then on top of that we'll plant some pollinators to attract the bugs and the birds who go from different plants to make sure it's pollinating. This is a pomegranate tree that's actually fruiting, and I can't wait to actually get these fruits. You can see like there's flowers here, and when you see the flowers, you hope that the pollinators come, and the pollinators will pollinate the flowers, and the flowers turn to fruit. And it's pretty cool, because before I started this, I had no idea how any of this worked. So to actually see the pollinators come through, see there's a bunch in the garden, to actually come through and pollinate these plants, and then those flowers become fruits, it's pretty amazing. This right here is just a regular Florida avocado tree. So it hasn't fruited yet, but I cannot wait for this thing to fruit. Look at this, there's a little lizard. There's lizards that live in pretty much all these plants and all these trees, and it's so cool because my dogs are professional lizard hunters, and they just sit outside and they chase lizards all day and they have a great time. But one of the only things that we do grow in pots around here is pineapples, and pineapples are super cool and easy plants to grow, because all you got to do is literally just cut off the top and put it in some dirt and it's going to grow a pineapple. But the reason why we grow them in pots is because it takes like 2 to 3 years for one plant just to give one pineapple, and when you put it in the dirt, they really spread out and they take a lot of space for only one pineapple for 2 years. So it's just really not the most efficient to get the most amount of food out of your place. So if you grow them in pots, you kind of control the size a little bit better. But we do have one in the backyard that's in the ground that is really spread out. I'll show you the difference in what I mean. This is actually a super cool plant. It's called Roselle or Rosella. If I'm wrong and you know, just leave it in the comments below. Like I said, we're no experts. We're sitting here learning, having a good time. So if you guys have any tips or recommendations for us, if you guys been doing this, leave those in the comments below, because we're still learning and we love to learn more. But this is Roselle, and you actually make a bomb tea out of this that tastes so good. And these leaves here are delicious. They have so much flavor and they're super sweet. We focus on a lot of plants that you plant once, and they're perennials, so they'll just grow bigger year after year, so you don't have to plant them every year. This is one of the only plants that that's an annual that we plant, and the reason why is because we bought one and it just gave out a bunch of awesome flowers that made some awesome tea, and it had a bunch of seeds. So this spring I kept the seeds and I just threw out the seeds, and it grew a couple of them just around the yard. And like I said, I like these. That's Roselle. This is an orange tree right here that my brother got me for my birthday, so I think that's pretty cool of him. And these are actually beans right here, and it's a trick I learned from studying the Native Americans, that beans, when you plant these into the ground, they actually fix nitrogen into the soil, so it's like naturally fertilizes the fruit trees. So we throw beans around the fruit trees a lot of times, the trees that we think need a little bit more nitrogen, and they give off peas that you can eat, or beans, or you can let them go to seed and just keep throwing them in. You see all these purple little flowers that are on the ground covers, and we're videoing this in the evening, but in the mornings these are just bright purple balls that are great because they attract more pollinators. Anything that is going to give off a bright color or a pretty flower not only attracts pollinators, but it attracts the babes as well, so we like those. And one of the coolest thing about these plants, they're reactive to your touch. So when you touch them, they know it and they close up. And yeah, the roots of this plant just keep that mulch turning and breaking down, which is just adding more nutrition into the soil, and we're all about that. We have another ground cover over here that does similar to the same thing, and it's perennial peanut. And the little yellow leaves on it are actually edible as well. But what these ground covers do is they help turn the soil and turn that mulch that just brings more nutrition into the soil and helps all the plants. And they actually fix nitrogen into the soil too. So it's like a natural fertilizer, which is super cool. Yeah, we just planted most of these ground covers in the springtime, and it's August right now. So eventually all the mulch will be covered with some sort of ground cover. Right now we're using the sweet potatoes, the perennial peanut, and the sunshine mimosa. But yeah, these are just spreading more and more and more, which is super cool. This is a little tree we just recently bought. It's actually called a strawberry tree. I'm not sure the scientific name, so if you are, just put that down. And I've had the fruits before, and they're not strawberries. That kind of fooled me at first. They're kind of like little small cherries, but for some reason it's called a strawberry tree. And this, I may pronounce this wrong again, maybe a Caliandra. Like I said, Pete from Green Dreams, if you're watching this, remind me what the specific names of these plants are. And this is a super cool plant because again, it just gives off another really pretty flower, a really pretty pink flower that attracts a bunch of butterflies and pollinators and birds and babes. So that's super cool. And in the evenings, most of the flowers kind of die back a little bit so you can't see it, but in the mornings you can really see the flowers are nice and bloom. So it looks like it's starting to rain out here, and this is perfect timing to tell you about an app that I use on a daily basis to know the instant radar, and it's called My Radar, and it's a great free app that's been supporting me in my BMX career for a long time now. And it's a free app that you click on, and it tells you the instant radar to rest assured you don't get caught in any rain, sleet, snow. Or if you're like me and you're growing a garden, I'm always loving and praying for the next rainy day, and so I always know when it's coming with My Radar. So if you do any gardening, or if you really do anything outside, make sure you think about checking out the app My Radar. It's a completely free app that all you gotta do is click on it, and it tells you the instant radar of wherever you're at, so you don't be caught in any rain, sleet, snow, just like this. Anyways, let's get on with the video. This right here is one of the top producers on the farm so far. It's an ever-bearing mulberry, and pretty much this thing is fruits most of the year. It's currently not fruiting now, but it just gives off these nice little kind of blackberry, raspberry tasting things all the time, like 4 or 5 times a year. There's another plant that I'm super excited about that I got from Pete over at Green Dreams, and it's a strawberry guava. And I had one at Pete's, and it was absolutely, oh, it just came off. I'm not sure, Pete, if you're watching this, tell me when they are ripe, because I'm really not sure when they're ripe, but, oh, I think they're ripe. That's good. You want to try this? They're just coming off. I think they're ripe. Oh, this one might be a little overripe. I don't even know when to pick them. Is it on?
Yeah.
Woo! I don't even know if it's ripe yet. But it's good. I'm pretty sure these things are ready. I'm gonna go get Jeremy, see if he wants to try it. That's my roommate. Yo, Jeremy, come on here for a second. Yeah, so this is that strawberry guava that, yo, what's up? Check this out. What's going on? Hey, this is Jeremy, this is my roommate that we'll be talking about.
What's up, guys?
Yo, I'm like 75% sure that these are ready to eat. Like, I just ate one and it's pretty good.
I just ate one earlier.
Did you? You didn't even tell me. Oh, that's messed up. They're good. Eat it. Yeah, they're pretty good. That's bomb, right? Yeah, well, I brought him out to try it because I felt guilty trying it without him, and he already had it, so. So this is the aloe vera, and we just bought this plant. This is the mama right here, and it gives off a bunch of babies, and we could always just take a smaller aloe vera and put it anywhere around the house. That we actually do. I'll show you. We have, you can see maybe there's one in there, or if you can't see that one, check this out. This was a baby aloe vera from the mama aloe vera up there. And this is a super cool plant too. It's pretty, it gives off this really pretty flower looking thing, and attracts birds and pollinators. It's called a fire bush, and they're really popular here in Florida. This is some lemongrass that it supposedly makes the mosquitoes leave you alone. So we just got this one, we're experimenting with that, so I'll let you know how that works. And this is what I call the ginger and turmeric bed, where I've literally just been taking the spare ginger and spare turmeric when I see it rooting and just burying it in this bed. And you can see it's already starting to grow a bunch of new ginger and turmeric. And then eventually the ginger and turmeric will just keep growing more and more through every single season. That's pretty much the whole front yard, and I'll show you the whole trick. Here it is, it's the mulch. When I first started this, literally me and my roommate just started mulching, and people were looking at us like we were crazy, wondering why we were mulching over our perfectly green grass that had no problems. The mulch is really the key to everything. If you look in a regular forest, there's nobody that waters it, there's nobody that fertilizes it, nobody has to take care of a forest, and every year it just gets better and stronger and more abundant as long as we leave it alone. And what they're learning is it's from the mulch. So the mulch breaks down, and it not only just constantly disposes like compost tea every time it rains, but it works as like a sponge. So if it goes a long time without raining, it holds in the moisture from when it was raining and disperses it as needed. And if it rains too much, it also holds in the rain so it doesn't get too wet in places. And it's also used as a great insulator, so when it's too warm it makes sure that the roots stay cool. When it's too cold, it keeps the roots a little bit warmer. One of the greatest things about mulch is actually this mycelium or fungi network that grows right under the mulch, and it's just a fungi network that kind of acts like an internet web service that transfers nutrients and communications between plants. It's really cool. The scientific community is kind of just now learning more and discovering more about this, so I kind of can't wait to see what they figure out. Any tree business is really looking for somewhere to drop off this mulch. They get charged to have to drop this off at the dump. So if you call some local tree services and let them know that you want some mulch dropped off, they'll be more than happy. And you might want to tip them like 10-20 bucks if you have to, but a lot of times you're doing them a favor. And it's really the best organic material that you can get. And really, we don't use any fertilizer here at all. The only thing we do is we lay mulch, and we're constantly adding coffee grounds that we actually get from Starbucks. A lot of people don't know this, but you can go into Starbucks and get pretty much unlimited amount of their coffee grounds. The coffee grounds actually feed that mycelium and that fungi network and helps that mulch break down even quicker. This is actually a lemon tree that's pretty sure in my neighbor's yard, but I'm the only one that uses the lemons out of this. I actually did an 8-day fast one time, and I had nothing but water, and the lemons squirted in my water from this tree. Dutch, get out of the neighbor's yard, bud. Come here. Dutch wants to show us the backyard, so let's check that out.
Let's go.
Come on, bud.